We're live.
We're live.
All right. Welcome to another rum-fueled and unauthorized treasure hunt in the sharky waters around the Gatsby Islands. Yeah?
With?
Yeah.
Yes! Sorry. With Gatsby Deep Diving Queen Ray!
I missed
And her
everyone.
pirates. Sorry, did you say something?
I just said I missed everyone. It's been weeks.
Yes. With our pirate, Paul the Navigator.
Hello.
And I just nicknamed Ola the Scribe earlier.
I noticed that. Yeah, nice angle.
Yeah, because he is working on an epic story about Ruby Reckless and Pirate Princess Lillian that some of you have gotten a little taste of if you attended the webinar this week. So I'm gonna share my screen because I'm gonna show you what we're gonna make, and then Paul is gonna take it from there and show us how to code it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
today we are making an emoji slot machine. So for those who haven't played slot machine in Vegas or anywhere else, slot machine, you spin it and you don't know what you're gonna get, and then you get 3 different emojis, and if they're all the same, you win. If they're not all the same, you lose. So how are we gonna make it, Paul?
well, we're going to use Gatsby and Gatsby functions, and we're going to store an array of emojis on the server, and we're going to request from the front end to the back end to send us back 3 random emojis, and then we'll evaluate on the front end whether they all match. And that's pretty much it. I think it's going to be a good one because it's using a Gatsby function that doesn't have, I guess, a skipping effect onto something else. So sometimes you might use a Gatsby function to connect to another service. In our case, our emoji service is all under our control. There's no third party that we need to connect to.
Yeah, so we thought that would be a fun way. Yeah, that would be a fun way to start, because sometimes you actually need to run business logic on the server to make sure that nobody is kind of messing with it in the front end. But most of the times we use Gatsby functions to integrate and connect with other services, but that just makes everything a little bit more complex. And we're doing that next Friday, and we're also doing that for the weekly summer functions challenge that I will be plugging a little later. Now you look drunk, Paul.
Sorry. Yeah, it's I've had quite a boozy day actually. I went out for
this might not go all the way.
No, it's fine. It's just I went out for brunch, which by the way is brilliant. Great idea.
I mean brunch. Thank you, America.
No, but like if you go to the pub at 11 a.m, people think you've got a drinking problem. You know, pop a little eggs Benedict on the side. You're all fancy, and so
yeah.
The Queen absolutely does approve of brunch.
Yeah,
but let's get going.
Yeah,
where do you want me to start?
So can you start by? Can you actually start by zooming your screen in a little bit? Because as you know, I'm on my super professional 13-inch MacBook and I can't see anything, and I'm drunk, so I can't see anything.
Is this good enough? Do you want another boost?
I think that would be all right.
Yeah,
that's okay. All right. So, do you want me to explain it as we go, or should we just like dive in?
Just dive in.
All right. So,
deep dive in.
Step 1: let's create a new page. So, in source pages, let's create an emoji slot machine.js.
And you don't want me to add another I on there like I did in the thumbnail?
that would be emojii. And then you can copy from what's in 404, and just rename it.
The Pirate Princess is trying to get on.
Hello, Lillian. All right, mate. What's up?
Yeah! Yoo-hoo! New teeth. She got a set of new teeth.
She got a set of new teeth, not golden teeth, but at least some fruity teeth. She is going with today's theme, fruitful emojis. Okay.
Oh, yes. Nicely done.
I mean, everything we do is on brand. We went for a pirate ship vacation. We do, but I can't spell emoji.
Emoji. Should have picked something easier for you.
Okay, I'm just gonna delete all of this then.
Yeah, just render anything for the moment. Probably keep the link. Yeah, that's fine. And then,
I mean, we have a heat wave here in Norway, and everything is so sticky. The keys are like sticking to my fingers. It's gonna be hard to. Anyway, lorem something. Here we go.
Okay, sweet. So now you could. Oh, do you want to add a link to that page from the index page?
Yeah, we could do that.
Just so we can get to it. Just pop something in there.
Slot machine. I mean, what is up? My typing is worse than normal. Link. And then we'll just pop in a 2.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same name. The link will be the same as the name of the page.
Yeah, I think it will need a / on it at the beginning. You got it. Was that Node modules I just saw?
Yeah. I know there was something. Maybe it was Google AI. Well, I haven't gotten that yet, but it felt
Copilot.
like something like Copilot was trying to do something there. Oh, I see so many people in the chat. Neil, who I met over on the Discord, Gatsby Discord. Okay, so slot machine, we can go home. So we are all good to go.
Yeah. So that navigates and we can get to that page, yeah? And it exists.
Well, let's do a P here. I mean, seriously, we can't have these like semantic. We need some semantic. There we go. Go home on its own little paragraph. Great. Yeah.
All right. I don't know whether we need to kill the server because we might need to restart it again in a minute, but we're now going to create the foundation for Gatsby Functions, which is to add an API directory to source. So I guess just briefly, just cover off, like with pages, if you create a directory with the correct name in the correct place, Gatsby does the rest. And if you create a page in pages, it creates a page. And if you create a function in API, it creates a function. Yep, get emojis. God, you're ahead of me. Unbelievable for once.
Yeah, so this is one of the things that is different with Gatsby Functions compared to other serverless solutions, is that Gatsby does a lot of the like fancy or the heavy lifting under the hood for you. So it's really easy to test in development. I've tried Netlify functions and I've really enjoyed those, but you have to like get a little bit more creative with your kind of development setup. But with Gatsby, you just do the regular old Gatsby develop or npm run develop, and your functions are set up. And I actually think we don't need to restart the server, Paul. Yeah, we just have to make something in there first, though.
Yeah, we might need to do the export default function, and it's going to be a handler with an REQ for the request and an RES.
We just do it no. See, I always copy paste this step.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Is that correct?
I think you need a request before response. I'm not sure if that matters, but yeah,
yeah, but then we rename them something different, which would not be good. Hello.
And then you can do a res.send, or you could do if you want to be a little bit more structured about it, you could do res.status 200. Anyway, it doesn't matter. You crack on. you do you.
Emojis. Let's see if this works or if we have to restart the dev server. Yeah. It works without restarting the dev server. That's pretty cool. The dev server has gotten a lot better the last months, I must say.
Yeah, I mean, just out of interest, what version of Gatsby are you running on this? I didn't check. Is it 3.9? Is that the latest?
Yeah, 3.9.
Yeah, 3.9 is pretty solid. A lot of improvements, I think. All right, so there's a couple of ways to go about this. I mean, we could write all of the functionality in this function first, or we can do a bit of a hand-in-hand whereby we can just add a default response and send back a message from the function and then go ahead and set up the React side of things and get the two connected so we can demonstrate front end and back end. Would that be, which way around do you want to do it?
I think we could just do the function first and then just test that using the browser like we did here. And then when we know that it's working, we could hook it up to the front end.
Yeah, fine. That works for me.
I think that would be easier for me to wrap my head around in this like sticky environment. It's like
fine. All right. So step one is, I guess, before the res.send, we're going to create a new constant, and this is going to be an array to hold a selection of emojis. So I guess it makes sense to call it emojis. And I was going to do a natamob first and invite the users, the listeners, the viewers, to add an emoji to the chat. Like, add your favorite emoji. And these will be the ones that we will select from. Now, we're making a slot machine, so I was kind of thinking fruit, but I mean,
all I wanted to be pirate themed because that is our original.
If anyone's got an emoji, I'm going to throw my emoji into the mix.
What's your emoji?
You know what my favorite emoji is.
Your dancing emoji.
The boogeyman. So that's going to be my boot.
All I want the pirate flag. The problem is, though, that my OS is so old, I can't do pirate flag.
So what do we get if it's pirate flag? Just like the gray box?
You get the two emojis. I think it will be okay, though, because the some emojis are actually just two emojis on top of each other. So the pirate flag is the skull on top of or connected with a black flag, as you can see in the chat now. But Neil's emoji turned out to be just a square on my side. I need to upgrade my system, but I'll try my best to like get them. I have this emoji selector here. So it's in Norwegian. Pirate. Yeah, I don't have that. Where can I need to copy paste. Oh, I know what to do. This is where I usually go.
Emojipedia.
I love Emojipedia. Yeah. Pirate. Neil, you need to send type out the name of your emoji so that I can, because it's a square on my computer.
Neil's was the confusing. What's it called? Like the sort of strange face one.
Oh, zany face. It's one of my favorites.
What's it called?
Is it this one?
No,
that's my favorite.
It was. Oh, what's it called? It's called Woozy Face.
Woozy, is that different than grinning or zany?
Yeah, yeah, because it's a different name. Yeah. Woozy face with a Z. Yeah.
Oh, see, it's just a square. I'll just copy it, and then we'll see if it comes up on everybody else's sites.
Oh, but that's gonna be rubbish if we're testing this, because it would be like, oh, we've matched three grey squares. Brilliant. Amazing.
Yeah.
So, and we're gonna get some fruit in there as well, because it is a slot machine. Can we have?
You want the dancing man?
I want dancing man. Cherries would be good, I think. That's quite a good one. And then,
I should bring out my cherry. I have earrings, cherry earrings, but.
And we got to have watermelon, I think, haven't we? Can you manage watermelon, or is that a square as well?
Watermelon. Melon? No.
It might be one word, watermelon.
You can get honeydew.
It is one word.
Yeah, so Neil said that there's a delay. Yeah, there's absolutely a delay when we do YouTube streams. It's about 30 seconds. So that's why I will also be doing webinars on Crowdcast this summer for more like Q&A type stuff. Watermelon.
Yep. And
am I missing something?
Can you try? Let's do peach. I like peach. And grapes. Grapes would be good as well.
You want the bum emoji?
Yeah, we can do the. Yeah, I'm all about the bums.
Yeah. Peach. Okay. So for people who didn't catch that joke, Paul made a full site that just got that fetched bums from GitHub repo. So Bum Hub. You could check that out.
It sounds more tawdry than it is, but.
It does. It does. Okay, I'm just going to go and copy some of the ones that you have selected before, maybe. Any more emojis that you would like, folks? Okay, I want grapes and cherries.
Yeah, with any limited selection from the 4 people that are watching. Hi Neil, by the way. Nice to meet you. I'm Paul.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's get on cracking with the coding.
All right, sweet. So what we're going to do is write a little function, and there's probably a million ways to do this, and I know because I tried a few, but basically what we're going to try and do now is write a little function that will generate a random number, and then it will use that random number as an index for the emojis array that we just created. Mm-hmm. So if we start by making a new function, so we can do this under the array. So const, let's call it pick emoji.
Const pick emoji. You want that to be a function?
Yeah, this will be an arrow function. Yep. And then inside the function body, we'll create another constant and call it random or randnum, whatever you want. And this is going to be a random number between 0 and the length of the emoji, and it has to be a round number. So it'll be math.round.
Math.round.
Yeah.
Oh, I should be floor. Interesting. This is better. Yeah.
Yeah. So then math.random times emojis.length.
Why do we have to do times length, Paul?
Because math.random will create a random number between 0 and, well, actually it won't create a random number between 0 and 1. It's slightly less than 1. Mm-hmm. But we have to times the result.
2 seconds.
We have. We're back in the game.
Someone is putting herself to bed, so there will be
something. You must tell her the protocol is come on screen and wait for me to come and help her. That's the protocol.
That's the protocol. Yeah, she figured it out. She's already on her way. I will tell her next time. Okay, so random number, and then now we are getting a number between 0 and the length of this array.
Yeah. Now there's 2 ways to handle this. So because arrays are weird, we might get a null result if we try and create a random number between 0 and the length of the array. So the common approach typically I see is to do emojis.length -1. Mm-hmm. And this will always make sure that you're 1 back from the end of the array.
I usually do floor, and then you get 0, and then all the way up to the length.
Yeah, I guess so. Floor is going to take from the 0.5 down, and then round, I think, goes up. So yeah, I mean, there's a million ways to do it. We could either do math.floor times the emoji, but times the emoji length, or we could do math.round time emojis length -1, or we could do math.round time emojis length or 0. And that is JavaScript. So
okay, I'm going to do floor.
Yeah, that's fine. Either or is fine. And then we're going to return.
And Scott is here talking about the curly boys.
Ahoy, Scott.
Okay.
Then we will return emojis,
Mm-hmm.
and using the square bracket index syntax.
Could you be the fancy names?
Rand num. So basically, it will be emojis 0 or emojis 1 or emojis 3 or whatever. And then I guess just as a test, can you see your browser and your terminal at the same time? You can't, can you? So we're going to have to return.
I can.
Okay, so we could just put a log in underneath the pick emoji function and just call it. So pick emoji with parentheses, and we should see in the terminal that it returns one of those emojis.
Okay.
With parentheses because it's a function call.
Really?
Functions.
I don't. Oh, Dancing Man. Did you rig it? Did you rig it?
No,
okay.
Let's just hit refresh a few times and recall that function so we can just double check that we do in fact return a random emoji each time. Yeah, looks like it's kind of working.
It does like them Dancing Man though. There we go.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, the longer the array, the more varied it's going to be.
Yeah.
Okay, so
cool. And this is also one of the things I like with functions is that you get the log of the functions right in with the log of everything else, which is pretty nice. Yeah.
Okay, so functionally that works, but I guess what we're actually looking for to create the slot machine is to return 3 of those emojis. And so I guess if we do, I mean, you can either give it you can either just return, do it that way. That's fine. Do you know what? I deliberately didn't do it that way because the last time we did functions, you were like, I like to have a message prop, which has like a useful message. So I was like, fine, I'll send it back as an object with a message in the data response. And now you're messing me up and just sending an array with no status code.
Look at that.
So
no, but it defaults to 200 polls. We don't have to put in the message, the status.
Fair enough.
It defaults to 200. So, okay. So what we're doing here is that we're saying that this function should respond with JSON data that is of type JSON, and the JSON is our array. And just like Paul said, I do like to have a message on there. Okay, and then we can do emojis. Just more of a standard way of doing it, but it's all good.
Now, it's interesting you pointed out like the response, the status code will be 200 by default, but I guess, again, it's probably a preference, but if you were to do error handling here, I prefer to send the status back and define it as 200 so that when I'm looking at the error, I'm sending back, say, a 500. And just for readability, it's very clear what each of the responses does. And, you could, in theory, send back a 201 if you wanted. It doesn't have to be a 200, I guess, so long as it's not,
So for people who are not that familiar with HTTP requests and responses, all the HTTP, or when you answer, there's a default set, or not a default, it's a standard of status codes that you can use. So nobody is kind of policing this other than the developer, who will be really, really annoyed if you send back an error and say that the status code is 200, because then they're like, well, 200 is supposed to be A-okay. So 100 is an informational response, everything in the hundreds. 200 is success. 300 is redirection. 400 is if the client, the website, the web app has done something wrong. And 500 is if there's an error on the server side. I usually just look at this Wikipedia page because it has pretty good explanations. And my favorite is
you're going to look up teapot.
Yeah. For 18, I'm a teapot, and so cannot brew coffee. And that's the first and last time I think they added April's full stroke into the standard, because when stuff has become a part of a standard, you can't really just take it out again, right? So, I really liked that one when I was explaining error codes, because it kind of, for me at least, it shows off that this is just something we've all agreed upon. It's not like any server or like browser or anything, like they can't enforce this for you, but you will have to like decide on these status codes and be vigilant and use the correct one. I think was my point. Yeah.
And I guess on that note, we're not actually going to be overly vigilant tonight on stream because we're not catching the errors and we're not going to respond with the 500. But let's just skip over that because I think there's going to be another webinar about errors.
I think though, if it fails completely, then Gatsby will respond with a 500 and like something went wrong. I think like that would be the default, but it wouldn't be very helpful. But once, I think I spent like hours trying to figure out, like I couldn't understand what was happening, and it ended up being the API I was using sent status code 200 even for errors, and just put the error message in like the message body. So when I was using something to call these functions or this API, like it wouldn't error out because it wouldn't catch that it was an error in the response. And I was like, what? And in the end, I like had to do some manual testing, of course. Should have done that earlier. But just like thinking that somebody would do that was just like beyond what I expected. So be vigilant, kind of folks. Be vigilant. Okay. Back to our function.
Cool. So now we're going to deal with what happens on the client side to call that function. So we can jump back over to our, what do we call it? Our emoji slot machine page. And we're going to hook into some of React's lifecycle methods. And we're also going to write a function. So let's just do a very basic setup to start with, which will be to destructure use effect from the import.
I know. Sorry.
What's wrong with my red headphones?
Nothing.
Oh, it's just bullies. All of you just bullying me.
Come on,
week after week after week, and I try and do my best, and all I get is it's a culture of bullying exists on the Natamob.
I love them. I love your red headphones.
Thanks, man. Thanks, man.
Yeah, where is Meltwater when you need him? That's all I say. Or exactly. Need them, him or her. We don't know. Okay.
Right.
Come on.
Okay, so destructure use effect from the React import. I know you like to do this automatically and I like to do it manually, but after React, comma, open close brackets, use effect. And we might as well do use state because we'll be using that in a minute as well.
Okay, well, things happen faster than that, though, so.
Hello, Lily. For anyone new to our streams, this is quite normal.
These are the Friday night streams, and then we will be doing some more. I will be doing some more structured webinars on Tuesdays, and we'll have a babysitter on Tuesdays.
This is the Pirate Princess.
It's the Pirate Princess.
Yes.
Nå må du gå bort. Yeah. Okay. So what do you want me to use the state for?
Right, so we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. So the use effect is going to be the equivalent of component did mount. So it needs an empty dependency array. So it only runs once.
Yeah.
And then rather than setting up the state, we're also just going to quickly write a quick function. Or you can do that.
It was just being annoying, so I didn't know what you wanted to use that for. I'm not going to go ahead of you. Okay, there we go. We have a use effect that's empty, and what do you want to do now?
Okay, now we're going to define a new function, which is going to be handle spin.
You want it above or below use effect?
Above is fine.
Yeah.
And then inside the body of use effect, we're going to call use function at handle spin. Sorry.
So you want to start off with a spin.
Yeah. So what will happen now is the component will mount and it will immediately call handle spin. But that handle spin handler is also going to be reused by a button click. Yeah. So we can define all of our functionality in the handle spin, but we can reuse it between a button click and an on mount.
And I'm a console logger, so let's have a look at that to see that it's working. Emoji slot machine. If we go into the console log now, we should see the handle spin. Handle spin.
Yeah.
Yoo-hoo. So it's working.
When the component mounts, it calls it, and then we can call it from wherever we want. I chose to call it handle, like the sort of prefix of handle. It seems to be a common pattern between functions that are called from actions. Yeah. But either way, so our handle spin effectively is going to be our brains, and this is what we're going to use to hit our Gatsby endpoint. But obviously, because this is a server request, we now need to implement another state object, which is going to be our isLoading state. So above the handle spin, we can create a new constant for the isLoading and set isLoading. And this will be React's use state. And by default, we'll set that value to true. So before we do anything, we're always going to put our state, our component state, into we are loading. And then upon successful response from the Gatsby function, we can say that we're no longer loading. So now we can actually hit our Gatsby function. So we can use fetch, because that's already in the browser. And it will be /API. And what was it? Get-emoji. So it's the name of the file that we created in API. And because it's a default export from that file, that becomes our endpoint. And then we'll just put in our thenables. So .then, response, and response.json.
Should I return that? Is that how you should do it?
I mean, you could either do a return or you can just do it as an implicit return without the curlies. Either or, doesn't matter, whatever your preference is. And then after that, we want another response. Another .then with the response, and then we can just log out the response in that one temporarily.
And so log response. So when you,
I have a question here. So. Up. No, don't take it away.
Yeah.
Up at the top there, it's. I can't see it now. It's very dark here. Rec-res. Where is the rec-res?
Oh, that's in the function. Rec-res.
So what's the difference between the res and the response, Paul?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose it's a common pattern in Express to use REQ for request and RES for response. I didn't actually think about that. I prefer just to write everything out longhand anyway, so that would just be request and response. But yeah, you're right. We could have written RES on the front end as well.
No, I'm not. I'm not trying to pick on you. I'm trying to.
No, it's fine.
I'm trying to get it.
Good question.
So in the function,
is it the same?
No,
so is it the same object in a way, or what is it?
No, so this is here we're getting a convenience thing, res, and we're saying we're using that to send something over the wire.
Yeah, that's cool.
And here we are saying fetch.
Where are you now? I can see it.
Now we're in
here. Yeah.
So we are fetching from the function. Yeah. And then whatever we get from that function, we just decide to call it response. But we could also, like we've done we could have called it treasure.
We can call it treasure because it's not the same. It's not the res. It's something else.
It's the data you get back from the function. So it's like whatever this is, it will now be kind of the whatever comes back, and you can name that whatever you want.
So it's not res.
It could be res. Let's call it res, because then the two will tie up.
Is the res that is there the same as the response you have there, or is it there? Are they two actual different things?
They're kind of a copy of each other, because you send something here and then you receive it here.
So there's no straight up answer on this. Is it the same or no? No,
it's not the same. But conceptually, it could be felt like it's the same because you're sending something and then you're receiving it. So whatever is sent here is received over here, but we usually call them two different things.
I'm sorry about digging into this.
I got a good way to explain it.
Yeah, do it, please, because I'm just getting more confused.
So imagine if, you were walking down the street and you were holding a tin of beer, and I was walking down the street towards you. you have a tin of beer. Let's call it tin, and it's yours. It's your beer.
Yes.
When you meet me, you hand me that tin of beer. Now I have the tin of beer.
Yeah.
So the thing that has exchanged hands is tin. The difference was you used to have it, and now I have it, but it's the same thing. So it's just exchanged hands.
It is the same.
Yes. Let's just say yes, it is.
No, but it's not really. So this res isn't the same, but this, what's in here, the JSON that is in here that we're sending with res JSON, it's the same as what you're getting out here when you're saying kind of treasure JSON. You're getting this string, and then you're turning it in, because this is then it's a JSON, but then it's made into a string sent over the internet. Then you receive it as a string, and then you make it into a JSON object again. And then when we log out here, it's identical to what we're sending here.
Okay, so
but it's basically a copy, because all of this is digital, I would say. But
so the reason I'm asking is, in my head, res is a cat. It's a cat. It's a cat. And then, so what you're saying is it's a copy. So it's not the exact same cat we find later here, but it is a copy of the cat. It's the cat. It is still the cat, just a little bit weirded out.
But the thing is, Ola, you're not sending the rest. The rest you're not sending. The rest is kind of like the post office. You're sending, like, send this message. All of this that comes after.
The rest is the cat.
The rest is like the post cat then takes this message and gives it to somebody else.
Exactly.
Okay, hang on, wait. How about this then? How about this? So in our exchanging of the tin scenario, the res is the tin, the beer within the tin is the bit that we're trying to get at. So the tin is just the vehicle.
Yes. Yeah.
It's the contents that we're looking for.
And then Paul would be the serverless function, and then he's using the tin to send you the bear, and then you are receiving the bear. You're receiving the tin, and then you take out the bear.
But it's a cat.
No, because rest.
No, it is a cat. That's where you're wrong. Because in my head, it's a cat. No matter what you say, it's still a cat. So, Paul is walking down the street. He's got a cat. And inside,
why would I have a cat?
And inside the cat is the beer. Yes, you're holding a cat is holding a beer. And then you give the beer and the cat to me, but I'm not actually holding the beer, I'm holding the cat. But it's all mine now. The cat.
So for anyone joining the stream at this late stage, you're now tuning into the Lunatic's Guide to JavaScript.
But it's a good question, and it's really hard to make into like physical things, because all of this is just like zeros and ones on the internet communicating, and then we have standards for what we call them. But since we could call this a cat, Ola, and it would still work because it's just the name of an object.
So long as the two relate, I think.
As long as this one and this one.
Although
in my head is a cat.
I've got to say, like, I would encourage you not to do it like that, because for anyone coming to your code base, they're going to be like, "What the holy s is a cat?" Whereas
no, I'm not going to. It's not a cat named Cat. No, you don't. If you call your cat, that's insane. That's insane. So the cat is called Res. It's a cat called Res. So that's how it is in my head. And if it's a little bit wrong, well, that's your problem, not mine.
Fair enough.
But we are then sending this over, and usually we call it response. And then after we've made it into proper JSON, because everything that's sent over the wire or in the air or whatever over the internet is strings at the end, or is actually zeros and ones, but we should look at them strings. And then we have to make it into JSON, and then I often call it data, because then we actually have the data that we wanted to access. And in our case, the data is then this object with a message and an array of emojis.
Fine. It makes perfect sense.
For you, but for Ula, maybe not. Okay, so if we refresh now, we are seeing this message.
Okay,
console data.
So the next bit is kind of a bit I'm not quite sure how best to handle this because there's quite a few things that we need to do. I think let's maybe handle the loading state first, because that's kind of separate to the response or the cat, but this is something that we're going to control internally. So we set the is loading state to true. When the response comes back, we want to set it to false. Yep. And somewhere in our JSX, in our return, we can now determine what to do depending on whether it's loading or not. So I don't know how you want to do this. Maybe I created a div and just put some inline styles in to wrap the whole kind of slot machine. Do you want to do that first, maybe?
Yeah, I could do that. So we have a div. That's going to be our slot machine.
Yeah, this is sort of going to contain everything. So I put some inline styles on that div, which was to be a height of 300 and an overflow hidden, and just do it as inline styles.
Height 300.
Yep, and overflow hidden.
Okay.
And then inside that div, we can do our old chum, the curlies. And we're going to put a ternary statement for is loading, which is our React state name, question mark. And then the positive response, if you like, is going to be a H2 that says loading.
Okay.
And the negative response will be also a H2. And just temporarily, we'll just put in there not loading. We're going to do another trick in a minute with this, but for now what we should see when we refresh the browser is the UI will change from loading to not loading depending on if the responses come back.
Yeah, it's just very quick.
Yeah,
loading, not loading. Yeah,
that's fine. What's that weird error you're getting, by the way, in your browser? Is that anything to do with us?
Cannot read property content container undefined. I don't know. Okay. And there's a set timeout. I don't know.
All right. So
let's just clear it. Gone. Yeah.
Good for now. Right. So we're going to create a second state object. So just underneath where we had is loading. Let's create a new one, which is going to be called slots and set slots. And this is going to initially be just an empty array.
Okay.
Now, when we first call the handle spin function, we're going to set slots to equal an array of 3 question marks. And I think you're going to have to do this as an array of strings. But if you've got the question mark emoji handy, or I can grab it for you and put it in this chat.
Oh, I can't just use the... I can do the question mark emoji. There we go.
Yep, so let's do 3 of those.
Good.
And then in the response where we set is loading to false, we're going to set slots to equal the response dot emojis. I think it was your response.
Data emojis is what
data emojis. Yeah.
Not date, but data. I do that all the time. Okay.
And just to slow this down in a set timeout, just so we can sort of replicate a slightly slower response time because Gatsby functions are too fast.
So you want to do that inside of there?
Yeah, and if we put a delay on that set timeout and just delay it by a second, maybe.
That would be
1,000.
1,000. Yeah, because it's milliseconds. Yeah.
Milliseconds, yeah.
This is not my... 11. Expected... Oh, I put... I don't know what I did there. I put my brackets and parentheses.
You've got inside out.
I got inside out. I got it inside out. Okay. So we are trying to load. Loading, not loading.
That's okay. Right. So now we can actually display our slots response. So probably underneath that is loading stuff. still inside the div though. If we create a UL, an unordered list.
Yeah.
Sorry, your screen's delayed. Yep.
Yeah, UL. Then you want to take the slots out.
Yep. So it'll be slots.map. And it could be slot, and we're probably going to need an index to apply to the key.
Oh, yeah. I always forget that. Slot, index.
And then a key.
And then index.
Yep, and then let's just do some styles to make it a little bit easier to see. So on the UL, if we set some inline styles, and we're going to do column count 3 because we want it to be 3 in a row, and list style none, which will get rid of the default HTML list style because we don't need that for the moment. And then on the LI, if we add some inline styles.
Do we have to say something about it being grid, or don't we have to?
No, column count will handle that for us.
Ah, cool. Okay.
Yeah, then inline styles on the LI.
Look at you go all crazy with the inline styles.
I know.
I rubbed off on you.
We're going to do a massive font size of 180 pixels.
Font size 180. And then I can just do 180, can't I?
Is it unitless for font sizes?
Yeah. Look at that.
Yeah. Okay. So what should happen is when we request, so there we go. We are seeing it. So initially it's set to the default, which was all the question marks. So every time that function gets called, it sets slots to equal 3 question marks. And when the response comes back, we actually populate that same state object with the emojis that were sent back from the server. So that's pretty good. And then I guess we want a more sensible way of calling that function. So we can now add a button outside of the div, I would say.
Okay. Not the button, but the button. If anybody in the chat has any questions, feel free to ask. So for those people who are new, Ola is actually here in the house with me. So if you feel like we were a little mean with him answering questions, we will be a lot nicer to you. Just so that's said.
But did you get his emoji, the Woozy face? Is it in there?
It's the one that doesn't show up, but it will show up when we deploy.
So yeah,
at his place. Yeah.
This will call handle spin on click.
Spin.
And then we also want to add a disabled attribute to the button.
Oh yeah, we don't want to spin it when it's loading.
Exactly. So disabled is just going to be is loading, and is loading will either equal true or false. So if it is loading, it's going to be disabled.
Look at that.
So there we go. So now we are hitting the Gatsby function every time we click spin. And those are the random responses. So the next thing we want to do is evaluate the response to determine if
I can't just sit here the rest of the night clicking the spin?
I mean, you can, but we want to determine whether we can win or lose.
Well, we're never winning. I think slot machines are like...
Yeah.
And look at my flag. Like, this will look better on your screen, dear viewer, who has updated your OS to get the newest emojis. Okay. Okay,
so the next bit is then to evaluate the response to determine whether it is a win or a lose. So up in our is loading tenery, where we just had the return which said lose.
Yeah.
Or not win.
No, loading, not loading.
Did we forget? So rather than not loading, inside of that H2 now in not loading.
Yeah.
So we can do some curly boys.
Yeah.
And in there, we're going to do slots.every.
I've never used every before.
And the first param is going to be the value.
Okay.
Oh, you'll need another set of params, I think.
Yeah, value.
Yeah. And then arrow function. Yeah. And that is going to be value equals slots 0.
So if all of the values equals the first slot.
Yeah. And then we can do a ternary on that. So after slot 0, we can say question mark. And we can return a win because it will match. So in a string, I think we'll need winner. And then false will be loser. So every evaluates every item from an array. And what we're doing is evaluating the item in the array versus the first item of the slots array. And if it's true, if it does match, we get winner. If it doesn't match, we get loser.
And it goes through everyone. So first it says it's actually doing, so this value will then be slots 0 place, and it evaluates that to slot 0. So of course that will be equal. But then the next value will be slots 1, and then it compares slots 1 with slot 0, and then it compares slots 2 with slot 0.
Yeah.
Figuring it out if all of them are equal.
Yeah. So what we should...
something is wrong because I probably messed up something. Expected an assignment or function. So what did I go wrong?
Line 39.
I need to return it then, maybe.
What did you have in your arrow function? Oh.
I think I just forgot to return it. There we go.
Okay.
But we're not getting any...
You're not getting any response. So just temp me back over the code. So we've got is loading. So if it is loading, we return a H2. If it's not loading, we return a H2 that does slots every. The first argument is value. Value equals slots 0.
Oh, I put them wrong. I put them out. This should have been outside, of course, of we're evaluating. And then
okay, so you've done a
I managed to put it in there. Okay, let's see now. There we go. Loser.
There we go.
Loser. We are never gonna win, are we?
So if you want to test this functionality, what we can do is jump back over to our function, the get emojis function, and just temporarily, rather than returning emojis rand num on line 6, if we do emojis
Beanie face.
Okay, yeah, all that. So basically, we're always going to return the same set of emojis.
Winner!
Winner. And you've happened to choose the emoji that doesn't look like anything. There we go.
Winner! Yay, winner!
Okay.
And this is the thing, right? If this logic was on the front end, then somebody could go in, or in the client, they could go in and mess with the JS and kind of pretend to win and send in that they have won if this was like part of something. But since we are doing this on the server, they can't go and like mess with our code on the server. And that is part of the reason you would want to do these things on the server side.
Yeah, good. Lillian agrees.
She says no because we're not winning.
We're winning.
She in her mind, winning is when we get the pirate. I think you would agree, right, Ulla?
Yes.
So, wow. This almost took an hour. I thought this would be faster.
I was bang on with my estimation. Oh, no, I wasn't. I said 30 minutes.
You were bang on. So
cheers, people.
Cheers. Let's send this. Let's push this and then let it build and see if it works properly on the server. So, slot machine done. I'm gonna commit that. What's up with your Husky, Paul?
Oh, what's happened?
It says pre-commit line 3 command cannot be found. I did install. Well, let's not merge this because we already have one that works. Let's just plug summer functions and call it a day. Or what do you think, Ulla? But then you have to like blow on your whistle, Ola, for the break.
You're a mute, Ola. You've muted yourself.
But Neil, before you do that, oh, now you can't hear me. Neil has a good question. So before you do that, Ola, what is the advantage of using this as a Gatsby function over something on the client side? And that was kind of what I alluded to. If this was like a proper casino, and we wanted people to kind of submit this and get prices. If all of this logic was on the client side, people could just like do stuff with the code that made them win, and then kind of send in like, I'm winning to some server. But if this is happening on the back end or in our serverless function, then people could spin, and we could also actually say if they won or not on the in the function, and then we could save that to some database, and then make sure if they won or not. I don't know. I'm getting tired, but that was my my explanation. So a lot of business logic that you want to make sure that a person in the browser can kind of like mess with what is happening. You want that to happen in a server, because then you can control the environment a lot more than you can in the browser. Thank you, Neil. So Ola, ready? So that is our break sign, and today we're just going to do one plug, and it's going to be my plug or all of ours plugs. So tomorrow, the first challenge of Gatsby Summer Functions with Queen Ray and the Natural Pirates is being sent out. So what is that? Well, the Summer Functions program is a 5 weeks, 5 challenges, where you will learn Gatsby functions by deploying at least 3 Gatsby serverless functions. There are 5 challenges, but we don't want you to only do this summer. So choose the 3 that makes most sense to you. And we got some like nice sales copy here. There's a list of all the challenges. We'll be collecting email addresses next week, and how it works, and then gathering reactions. We're going to limit some usage, display live data, and then we're going to work on how to get paid or charge money on your in your app or your website. And there is also what like that's one of those things where you want a lot of the code to happen on the server, because you don't want people, deciding themselves what the price, for instance, should be on the clients or on their website, and then sending that in. You want to actually evaluate all of those things on the server. And how it's going to work is that you get the challenge on Saturday, and then on Tuesday, you will get a pretty structured live webinar with me where I go through a possible solution. If you want to know how that would be, there is an intro webinar already out that you can find on this page. And then on Wednesday, there will be code review, a group code review. And then on Friday, where Paul is going to show us how he would solve the solution on this stream. And then all week, there is an open forum where both Paul, Ola, and I will help you to succeed in actually getting all the way to deploy with your function. And you can sign up here for Shipscat, Sailor, or Sea Dog. There's 100% money back guarantee. And if you, for any reason, need a discount, just email me or DM me, and we will figure it out. Realize that these prices are a little high for people who are outside the US and Northern Europe. So just email me and we'll figure it out. And a little more information about us. And there will also be, yeah, Lillian says it's my dad. And then, who is that? Papa. No, who's this? Mama. And then we'll also have some bonus webinars, which will be free for all. And there will be one with the Gatsby staff security engineer, Mike. And there will also be one on architecting your serverless functions with Swissek, who has written a book on serverless. And then I'm also working on getting someone to show us how to test our Gatsby functions properly. So that's everything. Head on over. And if for some reason you just want to be a stowaway, you have to scroll all the way to the bottom, and you can sign up to be a stowaway, and you will just be reminded of the free stuff. That's it. Are we excited for Summer Functions?
Yes, we are. I'm very excited.
That's not it at all. You missed the best part.
Oh, what did I miss?
Well, that's the riddle. Paul and Benedicta. What did Queen Benedicta Ray miss? That is the best part.
Who no, you have me?
You got no clue, you engineering people. We already have 2 paying customers.
Oh, I didn't know that. How would I know that?
I didn't know it was a secret. Is it a secret?
It's not a secret.
Oh.
We have people who have joined. There are 2 people who have already joined, and
yes!
Of course, yes, and you can join and get the first email tomorrow.
Yes.
I'm happy you're happy, Ola.
Paul is happy too. He just
I'm just drunk.
He's just a drunk Brit. So
that's good.
Yeah. So that's all for today. And also I forgot to say that. So all of the code we're doing in the summer functions, all of the examples will also be in a GitHub repository, a private GitHub repository that all participants get access to, and the forum will be the discussions in the discussions tab in that GitHub repository. So if you want like copy pastable code that you can play around with, that is also part of the summer function packages. Yep.
Good. That sounds excellent.
It does.
Where's my script? Here.
This is the nice one that Paul made earlier today with all fruits. Somebody's overtired.
What are we going to do? We're just going to merge that one in then. I need to have a look at that issue. Why couldn't you put?
Well, we'll do that after stream, and also probably we could merge yours in, so not all of the pull requests are mine, right? Because I'm gonna have my Tuesday pull request with my solution, and then you can have your solution.
I mean, whatever, man. Whatever you would prefer. I don't mind.
Because I am the queen.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Good. Nice job, team. Well done. And
yes.
And thanks, Neil, for sticking with us. Are you still there, Neil? It looks like he is.
He looks like he is.
What are we doing next Friday? Do we know?
Yeah, so next Friday we are collecting, basically we're doing forms, but the use case would be collecting email addresses or more from visitors. So I'm saying here it could be an RSVP, application submission, newsletter sign up, or something else that you need. So Paul will have to think about what he wants to make. And I will think about what I want to make for Tuesday.
Well, to be fair, I've got till Friday to think about it, haven't I?
Yes, you do.
Yeah, good. I've got a lot on.
Yes, I know. Okay, well, let's sign us off.
This has been another unauthorized and rum-fueled treasure hunt in the sharky waters around the Gatsby Islands. See you next Friday.
Bye.
Bye. Vill du komma och säga ha det?
Jag har den nu.
Ska du komma? Kom då.
You hitting stop at any point?
No, she's coming.
Oh, right, okay.
Är du färdig, mamma?
Ja, vi är färdig.
Ha det! Bye bye!
Bye bye!
Jag hörde bye bye.